Hey, my name is Ryan Michaels, and today I want to talk about the top 5 mistakes I made as a beginner videographer. And I hope I'm done making mistakes like these, because I wouldn't call myself a beginner anymore, but who knows? I just hope we don't have a round 2 of this video. Oh, and real quick, what do you guys think of the setup in here? I wanted to make like the most intense studio lighting in my bedroom here, and I think this is pretty intense. It's all blacked out. So I want to talk about the mistakes that I made as a beginner because 1, I think it could help people out so that you don't make the same mistakes, and 2, some of them are pretty funny. So I'll have a couple funny stories to go along with this as we go. All right, so let's get to the first mistake now. The first one I want to talk about is buying gear that is too cheap. Now, I'm all for buying not the top of the line, most expensive gear, because a lot of the times you don't need that. If you do need it, go for it. It just has to be justified. But if you remember that thumbnail that you clicked on with the light falling over on the light stand and me kind of holding it back, looking like an idiot, holding a gimbal to show you guys that I'm actually a videographer in that thumbnail? Yeah, that wasn't very far off from the truth. I bought these new lights, the Godox SL60s, with a huge, big ass like parabolic softbox to put on them. And then I also ordered some cheapo light stands to put them on. Now at this point, I didn't even know what a C-stand was, but someone actually hired me at this point, so I rolled up with my brand new lights that I was so stoked to try out and actually use on a shoot, only to get them up on these cheap light stands right in front of the client. True story. And these absolutely cheap light stands just gave out on me. I had no idea how heavy those lights were actually going to be with the whole softbox on them and everything. So I just made it work for that shoot, and as soon as I got home, I looked up what the hell I should have and ordered some C-stands right away. Now the lights are awesome. I recommend them 100%. They're actually the lights that I'm using right now. But make sure you put them on proper light stands, C-stands, the heavy duty things. You could actually see that one back there in the dark. It's kind of shiny. So that's that first one. Make sure the gear that you buy isn't too cheap. So the second biggest mistake that I'd say I made as a beginner was not learning my gear good enough. I don't know about you guys, but I've spent so much money on gear. And whenever I get something new, I want to use it immediately on that first client shoot right after getting it. So the first story that comes to mind when I say that is the drone story. Yeah, I bought a drone and I knew how to fly it. I practiced flying it. I even went and got my drone license. But this first shoot that I brought it on, literally the only types of shoots that I brought it for was real estate videos. Luckily, one of my friends was a real estate photographer, so he just referred me to an agent that wanted some videos. So I get there at this house and it's me, my buddy, and the real estate agent, all hanging out front, talking, shooting the shit, and then we get down to business and start shooting. And me being so happy about the drone that I just bought, I wanted to fire it up right there and send it up in the sky and get some awesome shots right there with them standing next to me. But I don't know if I was just nervous. I don't know why I completely forgot, but I forgot how to turn this drone on, like at all. Hang on. So when you turn on a drone, what you do is you press the button first and then again and hold it down. And then it turns on. And it does that. I was sitting in the middle of the road in front of this house with my buddy and the real estate agent that hired both of us. And I was sitting here pressing the button just once and then looking at my phone screen, like wondering why it's not turning on, thinking there's something wrong. And eventually they start looking at me like, hey, is there something wrong with your drone? I'm like, yeah, it's not turning on. I don't know why. I'm like starting to sweat. It's outside, it's real hot and freaking out on the inside, but trying to keep my cool on the outside, And so my buddy comes over and he just, good to go. So nobody said a thing about that the entire time afterwards, but I know deep down in my heart, I embarrassed the hell out of myself that day. The video actually came out pretty good, at least I thought so. So yeah, if I practiced with that drone some more, maybe I would have remembered how to turn it on. All right, mistake number 3 was making small upgrades. Let me explain what I mean by small upgrades. So if we look at a graph of like how good gear is, like on a scale of 1 to 10, like with a 1 being your phone and a 10 being like an Airy Alexa. Starting out, my camera and my gear was at a solid 3 or 4. The first camera I bought to start using on paid gigs was a Canon 80D. And it's pretty great, good 1080p and up to even 60 frames per second. Awesome lenses that you can put on it. But I was seeing everybody else's videos with this awesome dynamic range, and I thought I wanted the same thing. So instead of saving up and getting a really nice camera that had a good log profile, what I did was I bought a Sony a6500. Like the only advantage that it had over my Canon 80D was that it had S-Log and better low light performance. So I'd put it at like maybe a 4.5 or a 5 on that 1 to 10 scale. And it took me a couple shoots to actually figure out that I hated that camera so much. And I even paid like $800 for a Sony E-mount lens that I could use on there. So after only a few shoots with that, I got rid of it, sold it off, and actually lost quite a bit of money when I sold it off. So the problem with small upgrades like that is you're just gonna go ahead and get another upgrade really soon after that. If I had just waited 1 or 2 more shoots so that I could buy the Canon R, it would have saved me so much frustration, actually saved me money in the long run, and I wouldn't have to deal with the memory of the shitty Sony a6500. Sony guys, come at me, bro. Alright, mistake number 4 that I made was wasting time learning those epic zoom YouTube transitions. I was watching all these YouTubers doing all these sick like zoom and whip pans and luma fades. Like that's cool when you're doing epic travel videos, but when you're trying to make videos for clients, that shit doesn't fly. People just use them way too often, it looks unprofessional, and I would go so far as to say that it makes a lot of videos look amateur, which would otherwise be pretty pro looking. So if you're just starting out and don't know how to do a zoom transition, or a whip pan, or a luma fade, or one of those transitions where like your clothes change when you clap, like it just doesn't matter. It's okay, they're overused. Just start worrying about the story of whatever product you're selling, or the documentary that you're making, or the interview that you're doing. That's way more important. Whew, that was a good rant. I wish I could go back and like just smack myself with that little rant. Like, here, it doesn't matter. You don't need that. Stop it. All right, this last one it's pretty funny. Very embarrassing, but funny. My 5th biggest mistake that I made as a beginner videographer was committing to stupid locations. Really early on in my videography career, I had a client that wanted an about me video. No big deal, right? Just a cool video so you could learn more about him as a business owner. And it would have gone great. We had a whole plan of what we were gonna do. I had questions that I was gonna ask him so that he could just dunk on these answers for some awesome interview. But we screwed it up because I committed to a stupid I just cracked my knuckles there, sorry. That was probably really loud in your ears. But we screwed up the entire plan because I committed to a stupid location. What was the location, you ask? How stupid could it even be? Well, we wanted to do the interview in a place that meant a lot, and he's really into coffee from this one cafe. So I went ahead and interviewed him in a super aesthetically pleasing cafe. I'm telling you, it looked cool. But the only problem was, we tried to do this in the middle of the business day. You could hear them working back there, making coffees, scrubbing dishes, moving pots and pans around, people talking, literally customers ordering. I'm pretty sure I could hear someone's exact latte order in the interview. And I don't know why I thought that was gonna be okay. It's not like I had a Superman like noise canceling lav mic right next to his face or anything. No, the audio picked up all of those noises. And you can imagine how terrified I felt when I put that footage into Premiere and actually started listening to it. I felt so bad, I went ahead and made a completely new video for him in a different location for free. So the moral of that story is location scout and don't commit to a location if it isn't working out. So that was a good bit of story time. I hope you guys were able to have a good laugh at my expense. Looking back now, I could see the humor in it, but at the time I was terrified after all these mistakes. So I hope you guys, all of you right there behind this camera lens, are actually learning something from all of this, or else I just embarrass myself for no reason. And if any of my past, present, or future clients are watching this, I've learned a lot over the years, and luckily I've already made those mistakes in the past and learned from them so that I can make awesome stuff for you in the future. So like I said, hopefully we don't need round 2 of this video, but I guess I'll let you guys know. That's all for this one, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Adios.